Pearl Harbor, Tiananmen Square massacre, Armenian genocide, Nagasaki, hold on. 9/11 was a tragedy. 9/11 was a tragedy. Making money magically. This a masterpiece. I'm your how I'm feeling. How I'm feeling. 100 bands on me like I'm trying to pop a watermelon. 6 million. That beat was from the Discord. Shout out to you who made that. That was a good plug beat. Had me feeling.
I want to hear more about 6 million. You can't just end on that number.
Happy and giddy. Thank you. I always dreamed the boy I loved would come along, and he'd be tall and handsome, rich and strong. Now the boy I love has come to me, but he sure ain't the way I thought he'd be. But he's sure the boy I love. These are the lyrics from a song from the 60s called He's Sure the Boy I Love by the Crystals. You've probably heard it in a movie soundtrack, maybe. Goodfellas, perhaps. There's something kind of beautiful about that, is there not? You can have all these expectations of being swept off your feet. And this applies to both genders, but you know, it is mostly women who act like this. It's profound because it's not the appearances, it's not the height, the money, the attractiveness that creates the love. So long as a higher love actually exists, it's created through the process of loving itself and just being there and having someone. There's something pretty about that, is there not? Unfortunately, while you're rotting alone in your room, your looks match is getting double teamed by Chad and Tyrone.
Oh, here we go. Here we fucking go.
There are many lonely young bachelors today who, if they're not tall and handsome, rich and strong, they're not getting the chance at all. And if they do, it's not going well. And there are many reasons why this is happening, but we can summarize the situation by basically just saying that there has been a breakdown of monogamy. Monogamy, mono being one, gamos meaning marriage in the general sense, like union. It's when people get together young and they stay together for the rest of their lives.
I'm glad he specified get together young, because that's the part that's always in contention in modern society. And people don't want to hear that, you know, especially since it's massively encouraged that women spend their 20s, you know, sleeping with 100 dudes or whatever the fuck. Yeah, you know, it's never phrased that way, but, you know, go out and live life and have fun. You know, fun in 10 quotes. I don't know how whoring yourself is. Oh my god, Krusty got his Raider game after all.
They're paired together young and they stay that way. If you would make a study of current dating systems that we have today, you would observe that.
Oh, hold on. I better change the title before people come in here and they're like, I got fucking baited, that piece of shit. No. Listen, DMC is absolutely going to be in the regular lineup until I finish it.
Our society is not monogamous. It just isn't. Been replaced by other systems of mating. Serial monogamy, rotating polyandry, hypergamy, all sorts of stuff. Poly meaning multiple or many, so this is polygamy. Or polygyny specifically is when one man has multiple women. And hyper meaning above, so hypergamy. If you're familiar with the Red Pill talking points, this is...
You can tell his audience is a bunch of retarded normies that he has to explain this shit, but anyway.
A common thing. The tendency of women to date above them, hypergamously. Above them in height, above them in looks, above them in wealth, social status. We're seeing many attempts at monogamy, but we're not really seeing people get together young and then stay together. This is becoming quite rare today. And this seems to be because there needs to be a a societal pressure, something upholding and supporting monogamy. When people are left to their own devices, this is not
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
mating patterns
Hold
that
on.
emerge.
I'll do that now. This is probably a bugged lobby anyway, so never reverted the points.
Evidently, hypergamy and monogamy are totally distinct mating systems. Because while hypergamy, the context is you would want one guy who's at the top, but the top is always changing. It's fundamentally irrational
Yeah,
because
hold
it all
on.
depends what you're valuing, what you're looking for at the time. One guy will be rich, one guy will be tall, one guy will be super handsome, one guy will be super socially dominant. When you're looking for a guy who has all these things, he's completely elusive. So it's a fundamentally irrational and self-destructive instinct, but I'm getting ahead of myself. At any rate, the breakdown of monogamy seems to leave a lot of men, in particular, lonely, destitute in relation to their ability to find a romantic partner. The most striking statistic of the last few years is that in the under 30 age bracket, there are nearly twice as many single young men, as there are single young women. And on the surface, this doesn't even make sense, but there are ways it can be explained.
Yeah. Chad is spinning plates and all that. You know, Chad's got his fucking harem, more or less. I mean, how many fucking red pill channels just straight up come out and say, yeah, you know, feel free to date up to 2 or 3 women at the same time, but never more than 3. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. I hate you fuckers. You're literally destroying the human race. Oh, Flutterger's playing today, so we'll probably fight his pre-made. Oh, I forgot to queue.
And this is a problem. This whole situation has been dubbed the male loneliness epidemic. And what I wanted to talk about today, there's this take going around that really grinds my gears. It's basically saying that male loneliness it's just natural selection. So the
Yeah, dude, that fucking the Indian guy, healthy gamer, whatever the fuck, the guy who is gonna convince, he is a psyop by the toucans to get, you know, losers to mass suicide. That's, there you go. This is my schizophrenic take. That's fuck that guy. He's evil.
A healthy evolutionary process that would create a more fit population. And it goes right along with this idea I've heard from incels and women too, that
yeah, we finished Tools of Destruction last time.
Is eugenic, that women are eugenic now. And this is not the case. Hypergamy is dysgenic.
Yep.
The only conceivable.
Yeah, sexual selection. Again, like Rehab Room already covered this with the fucking, which I also mentioned, that species of deer where the females were selecting for larger and larger antlers until they literally fucking like died out because the antlers were too big and they couldn't hold their heads up. So the human equivalent is penises get 2 feet long and you can't fucking stand up. That's so stupid. Brian C. Brian C. We caught you sweating at breakers. So, we're forcing you to jelk for 10 hours to stretch your penis to 2 feet long. It will rip off from its sheer weight. If you do not... So, hold on. Sorry. Sorry. I was thinking of the stupid jigsaw death thing again. Anyway, I don't know why.
Plausible system of mating that is eugenic is monogamy. And there is no civilization across all of history that would suggest anything.
Why, Brian? I don't
fucking
know.
There would be no male loneliness epidemic. And this might seem counterintuitive. I get where you're coming from. If women are not attracted to most men, and they're just going for these top tier men, and the top tier men are spreading their genes and they're continuing along and they're getting most of these women pregnant, then the inferior
Okay, Silent Hill F
manlet
releases
incel
September 24th, and okay, but you can play 2-day early access. Oh boy.
genes die off and the whole population becomes more fit and eugenic, right? I get it. It seems it makes sense, but there are a few big problems with this and reasons why this hasn't been replicated in any culture or civilization throughout history. The only civilizations that have reached heights and produced higher IQ, taller, everything you would associate with being eugenic, they have been monogamous. There are three problems with this. There are reasons both genetic and social. But the first reason is that women also pass along their genes. The kid doesn't just get the Chad father's genes, they also get the mother's genes.
Yeah, this is something I brought up too. Where like hypergamy is like half eugenics, because obviously the other half of the genes can be as disgusting as possible, because every, sane woman is going to want to have children, no matter how hideous or deformed that they are. Yeah, they're not going to sterilize themselves for the good of the human race.
And if the mother is like, a 3 out of 10, like the looks match of some guy who's an incel now, you can use height for an example, right? If the mother's like 5 feet tall and the guy's 6'3", their sons, if through genetic recombination, if they have 3 sons, one of those motherfuckers is going to be like 5'6", 5'5". They're going to get the mother's height. I mean, a lot of people suggest that height usually comes from the mother. Not saying that height is ultimately eugenic or better. Once you get past like 6'4" as a man, it actually is associated with mutational load. And, the highest IQ populations are Asians who aren't that tall. So it's not like an ultimate thing, but just as an example, through genetic recombination,
the Ginyu Force is ready for battle!
Dent check. There's a head dent check here. It's just loose skin that goes back. You just gotta adjust them every once in a while.
That you're going to have a 5'6" son and then he's going to be an incel. And then since this son is going to be raised in a culture where monogamy is not practiced, there's going to be all these people, because these little dysgenic
Just don't review
women
Digimon.
are dating
I mean,
these
I probably
chads,
won't.
But then the dysgenic genes get
I'm shocked Metroid Prime 4's released
on through the sons, and then they're incels. And what this creates, now we get into the social problems, is a bunch of excess men. And what happens when there's a lot of excess men is that they destroy society. They engage in antisocial behavior because their basic needs aren't being met. And you can't just kill these guys off without more being born through the dysgenic.
Yeah, World War III. That's why the schizos are fear-mongering World War III. Oh my god, Brian!
Women. The only way this would feasibly work is with like some crazy gene editing, new authoritarian system. It's just not, it's not feasible. It'd have to be like fucking Gattaca or Red Rising or some shit. And that's dystopian. That's a dystopia. Hence why it's dysgenic. In a hypergamous system, there's always going to be excess men. And then they engage in antisocial behavior, and this is why civilization cannot be built. If all of these excess men are inevitably going to be born, it's going to cause a lot of problems.
It's gotta just be because you guys haven't seen me play them in so long.
Why is this not happening now in America if the problem's so bad? There are two ways to look at it. You could say it's not that bad yet, or you could say it's because of sedation. Like, men are able to satisfy these needs through other means.
Yep.
Like pornography, things like this, and this technology will keep.
Oh shit, Broly's winning.
Getting better, ostensibly.
It's close.
They're satiated. If they didn't have that by now, you could say shit would have.
Yeah, I've said all this shit before that Gerby's saying right here. Exactly that. It is sedation. Video games and pornography have satisfied our needs for violence and sex. You know. Oh, what the fuck? No. When we're done with breakers, which will be soon, I'll check out those other chat suggested videos. I think there was only 2 suggestions anyway. And then we might just play Infamous and end the stream.
Gone down. So women's genes are contributing too, and there are a ton of excess men, which is not a formula to create society. They're also not invested.
Low-level
so
subhuman
they
wouldn't
stop
drop me
doing
it and
things that
died with
prop
it.
civilization up.
Many such cases.
If they don't have the foundation of a relationship, they're going to stop supporting. Like, they're not just going to work to prop up the system. They're going to give up. They're going to drop out completely. Now, we are seeing that. We are seeing the beginning of this, certainly. And this is a form of antisocial behavior. Another form of antisocial behavior, which occurs when there are excess men.
Hold on.
I've talked about this before. This idea of mogging and looks-maxing. Think about it. It's not a pro-social way of thinking. Looking around.
All right, we need one more.
Am I mogging this guy? Do I mog? Could I fuck more women? Or do I mog? Is my jawline? The people are doing this to their friends. It degrades.
Right,
here's the real problem.
Yeah, he is right about that. Like the problem, yeah. The Zoomer obsession with like the looks maxing stuff is kind of cringe after a certain point. Like, yeah, the mogging shit. I don't like that. I don't know if we'll watch this whole thing. Watch a little bit more of this. Watch the other video suggestions. Then we'll play Infamous. I don't think we're gonna get to
about this later. I think I want to make a whole video about this. Hypergamy in this situation, it degrades male friendship. One of the big good things about monogamy, it reduces intrasexual competition. So men aren't thinking like this. Like, if you have an actual friend, the Aristotelian idea of a friend, it's a higher form. It's not just some guy you go around. It's not like a pack of animals. It's a friend. Someone who's there for you through thick and thin. You know, if a wolf gets hurt and it keeps up with the pack leaves him.
I agree. You know, not to bring up any specific examples or anything that's popping into my head, but people seem to think friend and acquaintance are the same thing. They absolutely are not. Not in any fucking way, okay? So, yeah, never mind. I'm not going to elaborate on that thought, but yeah, I've been annoyed in the past of people talking about friends they have that they don't actually give a fuck about.
If you have a real friend, a higher human ideal of a friend, he's there for you thick and thin, right? And you're not looking around at other men going, am I mogging? Am I mogging? Am I better than him? That's not a social way to think with a real community of friends. This is an animalistic, primitive way of thinking. And you adopt this animalistic, primitive way of thinking because you are competing for women now. You have to compete over women. In a situation where you all have that taken care of by the time you're in your early 20s, you know, this is the monogamous system. You all get paired up. You can look beyond that and you can have actual friends. And you see this now, guys are like they are like starving animals. And it makes it harder for a lot of men to have friends. Really think about this mogging looks back and shit. It's incredibly antisocial. It's intrasexual competition. And it doesn't happen when people are just paired off young and they're able to focus on bigger things, better things, and have real deep, you know, like a platonic idea of a friend. Anyway, I digress. There are massive social consequences to having these excess men, and women's genes contribute too. Women's genes contribute too. How can it be eugenic? A good example is Tom Aspinall, the current UFC heavyweight champion, 6.5 feet tall, big, 260, something like this, but very fast, moves like a lightweight. You could argue, people argue, this man could beat any man in history in hand-to-hand combat. Seems pretty eugenic, right? His dad's like a 5'7", 5'8" British guy. And before people go, oh, you know, his mom like fucked the milkman, just shut the fuck up. You can clearly see the facial resemblance. Stop coping. Now, this is not to say that every
he does know. He does know. He's like, yeah, I mean, that was certainly a thought that was lurking in the back of my head. I definitely was thinking about that, but like,
short, tall girl, it produces like Giga Chad, but it's just to say that women's genes contribute too. The reason why he's like this is because his mother, his Chad British.
They did that in American Psycho as satire, the am I constantly mogging part. Yeah. The problem is, as much as I love that movie, it definitely is one of the huge signs of like irony being dead, because people do, they take things that are meant to be mocked and then they take them seriously. But in the case of American Psycho, though, that's fine because some of it is arguably admirable, even if he is a psychotic human. It's like some of the shit, it does feel like the essence of masculinity, even if it's supposed to be mockery. But yeah, people will take shit that's meant to be bad and joke about it long enough that it becomes good. That's the problem.
Father who trained martial arts, who brought up his son who became the champion, he got some tall girl. And that's goals, honestly. And yeah, you see videos of this guy standing next to his dad. It's crazy. He's like way bigger, but it happens a lot. I mean,
if you, sorry, see, I pre-read this, so I'm like, yeah, I got to read this out loud. If you look at Brad Pitt's face, I am not 24%. Yeah. A lot of his face comes from his mother, not his father. You're allowed to describe a man's face without being gay, okay? We've gone too far if that's what makes you part of the 24%.
In a lot of situations, both famous people and people I know, if their mom's tall, the son is tall. It happens a lot. But it's not even about this, okay? What I'm getting at is
it's a miracle that I'm not a midget then, because my mother is 5'2". But whatever. It clearly does not just come from the mother.
that the only conceivable system, which is eugenic, it's counterintuitive, but every guy has to have their needs met. Otherwise, civilization can't be built. If civilization
yeah, Solar, don't remind me of the Hassan incident. Do not. That was definitely a low IQ moment from chat, but I don't want to get into that. that was painful. It was so long ago, and yet the pain is like it was yesterday.
Built, then we can't acquire resources. We can't build new technology. We can't create mathematics, arithmetic, music, great art, structures that push the human race further. As humanity progresses further, as we acquire more resources, as we elevate science, technology, we interact with better arts, we're closer to higher forms, we get taller, we get smarter. This cannot happen in this carnal, primitive, hypergamous, polygynous system. It does not happen. It never has happened. It is impossible for it to happen. That's really what I'm getting at. And this is replicated all throughout history. Monogamy started, we could trace it back to the ancient Greeks, then to the Romans, then to Christianity, and Christianity made it a thing. A society that creates mathematics and great music, that creates Mozart and Isaac Newton and whatever else, the Sistine Chapel, the Big Ben, it doesn't fucking matter. It cannot,
well, the problem with this, and I agree with all of what he's saying, is that I don't think he's considering that the people who need to hear this don't give a fuck about any of those things. I mean, let's be real, How many women actually care about this fine art shit? Not the vast majority. Now, if you told them that it's important, like if an authority figure, like if on the news and in movies, if celebrities, influencers all said, the Sistine Chapel's most beautiful thing ever, we need to make more things like this, all of a sudden, they would be very interested and really enjoy it. But for the most part, no. On their own, why would they give a fuck about fine art or anything like that? That's not what women do. So when half the population's out of the equation, and as this video and many others have established, we live in a, sexual selection, hypergamy dominated system right now. This kind of, what are you going to do about it, basically, is what I'm saying. That's always what it comes down to. And I know I'm kind of a hypocrite when it comes to things like this, because, you know, I basically make a living off of just bitching about bad video games, that all we can do about it is vote with our wallets, because I'm not going to tell you guys to go like Uncle Ted mode on these big publishers or something. You know, that would be awesome, but but what else can you do other than vote with your wallet, right? Oh, you guys are reminding me. I don't really feel like it now because I'm in a good mood. But someone brought up what the quote from I Hypocrite was about me, and even with the context, I'd say it's still pretty cringe and kind of hypocritical on his part. Maybe I'll break it down later. I don't feel like it right now. But the point is, you can always make an argument for stuff like this, like you know, you can point out why something is bad, but it's hard to offer solutions because there are no real solutions except for illegal actions, right? So, I don't know. I guess Gerbert does reach out to a more normie audience, so maybe he's influencing some minds, but this is his second channel. His second channel is known to be sort of like a almost black pill light type of thing. If you don't mail publishers bombs, unsubscribe now. Exactly. But I'd never, ever, ever fed post. I've definitely never done that before. You definitely can't clip me saying shit and then forgetting to say in Minecraft or Roblox afterward. Yeah. Why did Gerbert delete the Never Doom vid? Oh, he did? Did he actually? Hold on. Oh my god, he did? He fucking deleted. You're not wrong. He actually deleted it. I didn't know. Post nut clarity. Listen, I don't want to be responsible for this. Listen, I didn't tell him to delete the video. I didn't tell anyone to hate on the video. To be clear, this was not me. Okay, this wasn't me. It was a bad video. He probably got an appropriate response completely naturally. It had nothing to do with me. Okay? Nothing to do with me. Just to be clear. We won. Jigsaw stretched his cock and he deleted it. Yeah, the choice is yours. Life or death, the choice is yours. The gas. Gerbert Johnson, you uploaded the worst black pill video ever made. I've attached a hydraulic press to your penis. It will squeeze down every second. The key to your freedom is the delete button on your... Never mind. Why? Dude, come on. It's the same fucking joke 3 times. I'm still laughing. Okay, let's just get the other video suggestion.